All right. I thought maybe we get more. I don't know why I would think that. Obviously, we're delayed, so on 4.9 content. So why would it be more than 5 minutes? But this ISC, guys, is 5 minutes long. 5:43, 6 minutes long. Let's round up to 6 and give them a bit of a benefit of the doubt there. But oof. Yeah. I don't know what to say. But it's it's the dog days of summer, but it doesn't feel, because like you usually have CitizenCon to look forward to. What do we look forward to right now? How do we turn this into a positive? I'm not sure. So for me, I've been like, they've been talking lots about the Apex Valacar coming up. How do I get excited by that? I should think Squadron 42, but we don't really know exactly what we're going to see there. Are we going to hear a delay? Are we going to hear a 2026 release? Is it going to look good? So I guess there are some things to look forward to. Squadron 42 should be one of them for sure. Any news about Squadron being more like official is good. So just, that's October, right? And I guess that's when CitizenCon is. So, oof. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's see what 4.9 is going to be. Let's see what he says about the delays. This is the first we've heard from Jared since delays have occurred. So let's see what we got here. It was muted. No,
last week, we announced our decision to move the release of our upcoming Siege of Orison operation from next week out to mid-August, giving us more time to harden the system supporting our first iterations of content instancing. Now, this change was made in equal parts our own desire to make the new content as successful as possible, as well as the feedback received by you, the Star Citizen community. So,
and for people who are like waiting to hear what like the playtest was like, I didn't play it, so I don't know. I can only go off of what other people said. Zerug, thank you. I can only go off what other people have said, and they said, believe it or not, the frame rates were quite low, server frame rates and stuff, which is exactly what instancing is supposed to fight. So there's just generally some work that needs to be done there, and hopefully it improves.
The easy thing might have been to just delay all of 4.9 a month. But as we spoke about on the last episode of Star Citizen Live, there are a host of smaller content and feature additions, bug fixes, and quality of life improvements we think are ready to go now. So, rather than just hold all those back, we've moved Siege out of 4.9 into a brand new Alpha 4.10 scheduled for August, which will now let us release 4.9 next week with almost everything else originally slated. And as for those things,
like literally everything worth a shit was removed from 4.9. They did not just remove Siege of Orison and instancing. So unless something's changed, which it may have, what we had seen from the roadmap update was not what he just said. Maybe something has changed in the last week. So fingers crossed, like Recco Battaglia stuff.
Let's jump in now.
Which is still in 4.9, right? Wasn't certain Recco missions pushed to 4.10? The armor was pushed to 4.10.
And see some of what next week's release.
The armor and stuff is still in 4.9. There you go. Since I had not tested that stuff more recently, I just did the more like what we saw in the patch notes. Maybe something has changed in the last week. Okay, that's a positive, because I wasn't super looking forward to 4.9, but the super heavy armor, kind of interesting, fun, totally in different in a way. So that was something worth looking forward to. So I could cross my fingers and say, the roadmap update being a week old might be out of date from what they want to do internally.
Is bringing with it.
Let's see what he says. This is kind of exciting. But the hit markers. The amazing hit markers. Yes. This, for some reason, is a highlight feature. I don't get it.
Ahead of Rico Battaglia's fully instanced Mission Giver return in August, there's a new suite of repeatable evergreen missions that let you start building your rep with the legend early. Now, these include your basic prospecting contracts where you report back locations of resources as work for others, and contracts where you go and do the mining yourself. But there's also more intriguing offerings where you're asked to investigate the results of recent attacks throughout the frontier by an elusive group called the Moraine. They're attacking industrial ships throughout the system, and Rico needs your help to find out what's going on and to save her friends. These contracts include discovering what happened to missing workers, boarding high
the same contracts we've been doing for 10 years. Okay, but we're talking about them like they're new.
hijacked vessels to recover control, retrieve data from suspected Moraine facilities, recover items from previously pirated ships.
But that's fine. All of that is fine. Like I always start to criticize that, and then I always remind myself that every game I've ever played, especially MMOs, is literally rehash content, reskin content, a fetch quest or a kill quest. Like everything I've ever done. And the reason I immediately go to frustration when I hear about it from Star Citizen is not because I hate Star Citizen. It's because there's no weight behind doing any of these missions. And there's no weight behind doing any of the missions that they're copy and pasting. So it goes back to the same conversation we've been having over the last few weeks, and honestly forever, is the game itself, like what is there, is fundamentally unfun in to me. It could be fun to you. Again, there's always some keyboard warrior that gets angry when I say it's not fun because they're having fun. I'm not trying to take away from your fun. Stop being a weirdo and just try and like hear me out and hear what I'm saying. Progression in the game is very weird and almost non-existent because of the lack of skills and stuff like that. And I don't know what the best solution is for them there. That's a really difficult thing to solve, and they're struggling to do it, of course. But there's this lack of purpose and lack of drive in the game. I think economy is a big part of that, and the lack of it. The lack of gold sinks in the game's economy also is a lack of motivation to do things because you eventually hit a money number that's just irrelevant, where money becomes irrelevant, and ships are all. Yeah, again, every ship essentially flies the same, right? They WASD, QE, and then you move your mouse a little bit. Then they all generally feel the same and have slight differences. Some of them open up new content, but ships can only be so much progression is the point that I'm trying to make. And this is like part of what being a part of the alpha is. I think the issue that I'm having with this is they went all visual first, and they're not. You would think that like we would see piecemeal things come online, and we don't see the piecemealing of the pieces coming together. We keep watching them build like Legos on an island, but never connect a bridge to them. And this is just more of that, right? So when you do mining missions, you are connecting a bridge to like the mission system for mining. And then you add blueprints to it, and I think they think that that's connecting it to crafting, but it doesn't. And I can't put my finger on it right now why, but it doesn't. So yeah, I don't know. Yap session? I guess I'll stop yapping.
And even a little salvage of the remaining wrecks themselves. It's a nice primer for her.
In the end, these are the yap sessions that need to be heard, because when you praise them constantly and say, wow, I'm so excited for 4.9, I can't wait to jump in and do all the same things I've been doing, but for a different rep, they will just continue to do this, and the game will never progress to be that meaningful. Like everything I'm doing has weight behind it feeling, and it just doesn't. This, no matter what, feels empty. No matter the reward they give.
Full return in Alpha 4.10 and your further adventures with the storied mission giver.
Yeah.
In ship
And also, Mr. Kraken's been talking. I don't know if it's 4.9 or 4.10, but like you literally get ships from Recco. You get like the Golem and the Prospector from Recco Rep.
Ship and vehicle features. Some long-awaited enhancements to the combat UI arrive next week, designed to help everyone better understand successful hits, penetrations, and damage to shields, armor, hull, and components.
What do we think about that part? I think it is long awaited, but if you watch it, like let's watch back and watch how within a split second, there were 3 different hit markers. So I like the idea of it, but don't you think the hit markers should be much more, how do I describe it? You start out with hitting shields, and then you start out hitting armor, and then you start out hitting hull, and you watch those progress, but they're all happening at the same time, which is weird. Watch it.
In ship and vehicle features, some long-awaited enhancements to the combat UI arrive next week, designed...
What the fuck is that? There's 5 different markers happening at the same time. And that's the one where I'm like, it is visually representing what is happening. You know what I mean? It's visually representing what is happening. Is that the way things should be happening? Is like what you kind of have to start questioning.
To help everyone better understand successful hits, penetrations, and damage to shields, armor, hull, and components.
I think the sounds you're going to get used to. I don't mind the sounds, even hearing them now. I hated them on day one. I'm hating them less now.
That's just neat. Then newly improved ship flyby sounds are being reintroduced to the verse, with all new audio assets intended to deliver greater immersion, drink, oral fidelity, drink, and improved positional feedback, okay, during flight. Now, it won't be for every ship, but like other features such as components.
Sorry, Reddit. I had no idea about the 890 jump, okay? For all the people who were saying that about me, go fuck yourselves. You're miserable, miserable, miserable people. The person who was flying thought the 890 jump would have sounds, and he flew by me for that Reddit thread about me. Get a life, you losers.
Engineering and LAMP. These will continue to roll out to more ships and vehicles in subsequent patches.
What about the 890 jump? I guess I should give context for people who's watching this video later. I went into the game to hear these sounds, and somebody, who was it? It was Meatley, I think, took out his 890 jump to fly by me so I could hear it. And that's like the ship he chose. He didn't know either. And we waited for the sound, and it was literally silent. There were 0 sounds, and we just like laughed a little bit. And then Stuart, who is always trying to start drama, posts something on post a clip of me on Reddit with that, and then I get shit for everything when I was just I was just checking it out. That's it. And then later somebody flew by with Gladius, and it sounded really good, and it was just a little too low, and it needed to be higher volume, and I think that they addressed that in the next patch.
There's also a new ordnance cargo container feature going in, adding dedicated frames for things like missiles, torpedoes, and bombs.
This is so stupid, I think.
To improve the presentation.
Except for the fact that you can put them straight up and down. I love that.
Presentation and storage of such items on cargo grids. Did I say ordnance or ordinance? Ordnance. Not ordnance? Yeah. So it's a smaller thing that perhaps isn't as sexy, but all existing distribution centers are being redropped on planets and moons with a variety of systemic and physics improvements that will fix a large amount of missions that occur there.
Okay.
And there was much rejoicing.
By nobody, because nobody does missions there, and who cares? But hopefully they can
and
do more of them.
Starware, which I'll go ahead and tell you is currently tracking for 4/11 in September. Cross your fingers.
Okay,
there's a new
news.
series of combat clothing coming to shops in the verse. Now, these may not offer the same.
You know, they just showed a thing that they're selling on the screen, right?
Level of protection as a full suit of armor, but they'll do more to keep you alive in a gunfight than other clothing options. Plus, they're snazzy. Be seeing you. And closing out our coverage of Alpha 4.9, there are also behavior improvements to the juvenile and adult Valacars, new hairstyles.
They didn't show any of the behaviors. So not sure what this
entails. A new classic from one of our most popular weapon manufacturers with the bullpup rifle from Bering. And perhaps the most important addition to Star Citizen since planets and star systems were added, new kiosks have been added to New Deal. Thank you, Hassie. So that's all I got for you now. Be sure you jump in next week to experience Alpha 4.9 yourself.
Because they don't work because of server FPS? Okay.
And remember that not every fix being prioritized and work done now will come all at once. Also,
and not every fix is being prioritized is the one that you want them to fix, right? But they're fixing something.
To those of you who have been helping in PTU and reporting issues and helping repro, we hope you'll continue beyond the release next week to help us ensure Siege of Orison is everything it can be when it arrives next month. For now, we'll see you at the Bash next week.
What's the Bash? I have no idea, but I don't know. It's so hard. Oh, it's the name of the gray ship. Of course, we couldn't not sell something. It's Jared. But so I don't know. I don't know, man. I just realized Valheim is still on, and I'm probably dead. Or getting attacked or something. But I'm just trying to think of, like, trying to be positive. Mukes, thank you so much. As best I can. And I'm not being negative here. I'm just not as excited for 4.9 as I have been for things like 4.7 and 4.8. And it's kind of hard. I was so excited for 4.7, 4.8. Mining kind of really flopped. Crafting, the air got taken out of crafting because of mining. And I think I just got a bunch of air. I'm just like deflated. And it's hard to be excited about stuff that I'm not super interested in, right? I don't care about combat armor. I don't care about any combat missions. I don't care about mining missions. I care about the sandbox and crafting and all that stuff. And I'm just not as excited for it right now as I usually am. And I wish I was, but I'm not. And that's just it. And nothing that isn't looking ahead is going to excite me. I feel like that's kind of the injection of excitement that I feel like I need is, saying Star Wars coming in 4.11 is like one of those things that I was like, oh, okay, because what does that entail? Does that mean like soon we get updates to armor where those start acting more appropriately and stats to them and stuff? So I don't know, but I got to look forward to something, and I think it's like the lack of video content like ISC that was, hey, this is the patch we're on, but in the next patch, this is what we're doing, and we just haven't had that in a while, and it's kind of like, yeah, even SCLs, I just like have no hot air in my balloon, and I'm feeling down. So let me know how you're feeling, but it is what it is, I guess. So let me know.